Oh, don't want to tell. Okay.
Hey, Bill, do you know someone who can help me with a leaky door?
With a
We
leaky...
can't figure out why it's leaking. There's a leak somewhere coming in around the door.
Wow. So not a plumber. You're talking about a handyman of some sort.
Yeah, I guess.
Let me think about that. Or put it out here on this call here. Maybe we have somebody here, a handyman on the call. Hey, we're now live on YouTube. Looking for a handyman for Jack, for world famous attorney Jack LAProbate. Bill Gross here. Today's our Tuesday Southern California real estate investment meetup, where we get together investors, wholesalers, real estate agents, and talk about real estate concepts. And we also look at some real estate deals to invest in. I know I have a deal from Julie. I don't see her on yet. And we're going to review a deal from a past client of mine. Eric, you on the line? I don't see you, but you might be hiding. There's Julie adding on. Okay, we're still early, I guess. Wow, 20 people already. Well, we're really humming. Well, let's just hang on here for a minute or two. We'll give people a chance to get on call. Hey, Melissa, how you doing?
Doing well. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all.
You know, Melissa is kind enough to come on this call every week almost with a property, a distressed property. The one she found last week, I did some research on it. It is in probate litigation. And a sharp investor can get in on that deal. But you gotta find a way to talk to the heirs or the petitioner, the owners of the property. So I don't know if you still have that property available, Melissa. But that was I think I have that here. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, try to get out to the owners and the parties involved.
Yes.
And
That's the challenge. That's the money.
that is the challenge, because realistically, what I'm doing when I'm going to my appointments to meet new owners that are looking for property management, I'll just drive by a distressed property and I'll just take a picture of it and then bring it to the group and say, hey, free for all, see what you can do with it.
Exactly. And the one you brought last week was it was interesting. It was a litigation. Let me see if I could find the property.
Yeah, I probably have it in my notes. I have like 50 million notes for our meetings that I try to jot down when I'm driving. I don't stop out of my car and get the address. I look at the bottom of the iPhone shot and it gives me the address.
Well, I got it, and then I looked up and found the property, the probate file.
Yeah.
Based on the.
Oh, I think it's in my email. I'll have to check my email.
Did you email it to me?
Yeah, I emailed it to you.
There you go. Edge Hill, is that it?
Yeah, it was Edge Hill. Oh, no, wait.
Maybe-
Edge Hill.
no, that's
No,
something
Edge Hill's
else.
the other one that it's the owner's trying to sell right now because she's got 2 vacant units.
Right, that's a different one.
What
Yeah,
is
that one, you didn't email it to me. You might have texted it. Let's see. I'll go my text
Let's see.
request.
Bill. Let me go into my.
No, I don't have it. I have the case. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Here's what
I
I
know.
say. The lesson we learned is Melissa, when she says she got distressed property, it's distressed. She knows what she's talking about. She knows distressed properties.
It's not hard to figure out when the windows are boarded up and the lawn is neglected and the paint's chipping from the property and there's non-op vehicles. So I've always got my eye out for those.
So I wanted to start today before we go to. I have a property. Oh, there's Julie's on the line. Good. And then I don't see. I don't see Eric on the phone. Eric, if you're there, say hi. So we have we have two special. We have a guest and we have a property to pitch. But before we do that, I just want to talk a little bit about the market. I was listening to one of my coaches last week talk about real estate. Last year was the best year in terms of sales and volume in real estate history. And so I'm guessing on this call, there's 2 types of people. Well, I guess there's also vendors, but within the real estate industry, there's people who last year was like, wow, let's do that again. Which is also, wow, and I'm complacent now because I made a bunch of money. And there's another group that oh my God, I didn't make any money. What are you talking about? It was tough, right? So if you want to privately, you can text me or chat me. If you're watching on YouTube, you can chat it if you want to do it publicly. Was last year like your best year ever? Was I'm glad to put it behind me, or somewhere in the middle? Go ahead and put in the chat if you would. Was last year your best year ever? I'll just share with you my best in my career. Easily, by far. But that's not true for everybody. And I think there's a reason why. Actually, I want to share 2 reasons why. One reason why is that for those of you, last year wasn't the best year ever. Some of you keep waiting for things to go back to normal. For some of you, when COVID shut down, and that's true in other businesses as well, your reaction was, well, I'm going to just not work as hard until things go back to the way they were before. I have news for you. They're never going to be with the way they were before. It might go back in some regards. But the business is changed forever. And it will go back towards where it was. But those of us who've ramped up, scaled up, gamed up our game are going to take advantage of the opportunity. And those who are getting started now again are going to have a tough time getting out of first gear. And I'll tell you the solution in just a second. The challenge is that it's not about the cards that were dealt, it's how you play them. The cards were dealt changed how we work with customers last year, how we work with vendors, how we work with each other. But they don't change how we work with ourselves, our commitment, our standards, the urgency we bring to our business. We're now 2 months into the year. It's no longer even a new year. We're almost ending the first quarter. Where are you in terms of your goals? My goal for the year is 35 transactions by November 30th. I've already closed 10. I'm ahead of my goal. And I'm raising my goal because I want to keep myself, I want to take advantage of this opportunity in front of me. Where are you in relation to your goals? And don't tell yourself it's okay I didn't make my goals because we're still locked up. I didn't anticipate that. We are where we are right now. We're likely to be here for the next 30 days. What are you going to do about it? Maybe it'll change in 30 days or 60 days, maybe even sooner. But what do you do right now to play the game all out? And second, the difference, I see this in new people all the time. I got a phone call recently from somebody just an hour ago who's leaving one company and kind of desperate for a change. You have to have the sense of urgency on a daily basis. If you don't, you have a sense of urgency when you're in trouble. You have to have a sense of urgency every single day. You have to run from one activity to the next and be urgent about it. Be urgent to find your next deal, your next contract, your next listing, your next buyer, whatever it is. You need a sense of urgency in this business. It's a competitive business. There's a ton of money being made, but it's being made by people who are playing full out. And everybody on this call has that ability to be successful. But you've got to play the game at a higher level. If you're not achieving your goals, you've got to own it yourself. What do you need to do to change things? Because it's not going to change. And when it does, it's going to change to the advantage of those of us who have listings and have business already. It's not going to change for the advantage of those who are not working hard. It never does. Life never works to the advantage of people who aren't engaged and playing full out. It always changes to benefit those who are playing full out. So I'm going to suggest you jump on and get involved. Last week, as she does every week, Melissa's the greatest. If I wasn't married, I'd kiss her. We can't because it's a Zoom call anyhow. But she brought a distressed property. Some of you pay money for distressed properties. Some of you drive around to find distressed properties. She gives you one for free. And it is 2133 101st Street. I'm sorry, 111th Street in LA, 90047. And I, for free, have researched and found out it isn't probate, but it's in litigation, meaning it could be stuck there for a long time. And I'm going to tell you that whoever convinces the owner or owners, there's multiple heirs, they can help solve the problem wins. Now, there's attorneys that both sides have. They're spending money by the hour. I'm not sure, and I find sometimes customers forget what their goal is in this. And they're going to eat up their equity if they don't come to some resolution. So anybody who works distressed properties, there's one worth going after. And if you get a hold of the owner, you would talk to them about having some possible solutions. Call me. Be more glad to walk you through some probate options. I can't give you legal advice, but I can give you a game to play and how to win the game. Okay. Carlos said, amazing first year in business. Congratulations, Carlos. This is the best. I've been in business since 1986 in real estate. This has been the best time to start a career in real estate in my entire lifetime. So you should be one of many. You're not. You're one of a few. Now that's your first year. How do you do your second year, Carlos?
Well, my goal is to double my portfolio.
Boom. Don't slow down, man.
Yeah, no, it's it was a product of survival. I worked in banking for 35 years.
How about that?
In January of last year, they eliminated my position, and I was in a pandemic, and I figured people needed places to live, so I started buying properties and renting them out.
Nice.
I forgot the rehab part. Buying them, rehabbing them, renting them out. So I have a total of 9, and I have 3 more in the pipeline for this year.
Dude, that's
Ye-
fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just a product of survival. I mean, when you got to survive and you got to, we moved out here from Connecticut a couple of years ago, and we looked for a house, and the prices were ridiculously stupid. So we did have some seed money to start, my operations. But now I'm looking to do flips here so I can redeploy the capital where I have my rental properties. So if there's any people that are interested in doing some flips, currently I have an off-market listing that I have that I'm trying to get financing for. But if someone's interested, I don't know if they can direct message me here or something on the call. But yeah, I think my biggest concern out here is that it seems that the market is frothy. But I said that 2 years ago when we first moved out here.
Exactly.
That my strategy is to, raise capital here and redeploy it. My properties are in upstate New York, so one flip here can buy you probably 10 properties up there.
Nice. If somebody was interested in investing in property in upstate New York, will you be able to be of assistance to them?
Yeah, definitely. Because I have all the processes set up. I have my feet on the street there. My handyman. I have a property manager. What I'm realizing, after having 9 properties, is that I'm not the best property manager. So I'm kind of going to let the experts take over that, and not be greedy and give them their cut, just so I could scale. Because the challenge with the time zones is tough too, because people have a problem at 6 o'clock in the morning and it's 3 here. So that creates a problem for me and my wife.
Well, Carlos, when you get a property that you want to sell in New York, or you get one that you think you're not ready to buy, but somebody else might, and you can make some money as an agent or as a wholesaler, feel free to bring it to this call. Just email me ahead of time so I can look at and vet it a little bit, and let's talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. I sold one that I bought last year, and I made a decent profit. So I'm going to 1031 that into 2 other buildings in that area.
Nice.
And I have another one that's almost under contract. And I'm going to try to set up that same kind of process where, I rented for a year, because I think for 1031, you got to have a holding period of about a year. And then just double it, double the income, the cash flow, and do like a 1 for 2 kind of situation. And I'm going to try to ride that as long as possible.
Nice. Good job, man. Good job, Carlos. Well, thanks for bringing that to the call. And like I said, when you get something in particular, bring it to our call and share it.
Yeah, I have this one that's pretty live. The one it's in Tujunga, and I went to go see it on.
Hold it. Carlos, you live in California now. You can't get away with that anymore. It's not Tujunga.
We definitely know you're from Connecticut now.
Exactly.
Sorry about
You just
that.
gave it away. You just put in your forehead. I'm from out of state. I don't know what the hell I'm talking.
It's
Carlos,
okay. You guys
J's
got to
are-
teach me.
J's are H's, so it's Tahunga.
Tahunga. Okay. Yeah, I went to go see it on Saturday. It's an off market, which is great. So, my approach here is I'm dealing with Finance of America. I don't know if anybody else has dealt with them.
Yeah.
So, if I don't get the financing for the flip, I'm just going to sign it. So if anybody's interested, because it's an off market deal. So,
You have it-
and I,
Do you have it in a contract?
not yet. No, I'm just waiting to see if Finance of America, just gives me a wheelbarrow of money first. If they don't, then I'm probably just going to sign it for like a 1%. It just needs a roof. I think that's the major thing with it, but everything else is somewhat cosmetic. So, I think there's some meat on it. Not a lot of meat, but there's some meat on it to take a nice profit.
So Carlos, if you get in a contract, bring it back here next week if you decide you don't want to keep it. And also in the chat box, Ed Berlinski, or Dr. Ed, the real estate doctor, is a hard money lender. I know him personally, great guy. You can talk to him. Dawn also is on our call. She's going to pitch a little bit of a product that might be appropriate. So there's a couple resources you might want to hook up with. Maybe not for this deal, maybe the next deal.
Yeah,
So-
no, that's the reason why I joined. I saw you guys, and it's a whole circle of life thing, right? We have to take care of each other, and
Exactly.
all boats rise with the tide. Is that how it goes? I don't know,
Exactly.
something like that. Yep.
Exactly. Okay, so let me do this just from a timing point of view. I invited a special guest on the call. He's also my client, so I have to treat him with a little VIP. Hey, Sonny, nice to see you on the call, man. Sonny, do you still buy houses? You do? Okay, good. Hey, special guest today, Lieutenant Colonel Eric Goldie, United States Army. I asked him to come here today, not in his uniform, and he did not need to bring a sidearm with him. Colonel Goldie is a friend, longtime friend, as well as a client of mine. And he recently bought a property that he flipped and sold for a profit. And I asked him, I said, look, there are people here who just don't believe this happens. Would you mind sharing with people, giving them the hope that they can do the same thing? Now, Eric, I see you're muted and your video's off. Are you there?
I am here.
So let me
Hi, Bill.
present Lieutenant Colonel Eric Goldie.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being on the call today.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. What would you like to know? Where do we begin?
So we're getting into the details on 62nd Street, but before we go there, give us your background. Have you bought and sold properties before?
Yes, I have, but not this way. I bought them. Whoa. I have an unmuted mic out there. Yeah, but just in the conventional way. I bought a couple places about a decade ago in the Mojave Desert that were new construction, and I bought a condo in the conventional way in Los Angeles, also about a decade ago. This was my foray into using leveraged assets to try to acquire an investment through the auction, the foreclosure process. Whoa. So I attempted that in late 2019, did a lot of my own research with title history of different properties. I went through hundreds of different properties and screened them for suitability and for the potential upside in profit if I were to go forward with it. And the difficulty with trying to buy something at foreclosure is that you prepare for showtime, and for various reasons, the different trustees that are auctioning off the property can cancel them all the way up to before the auction happens, and then also on the day of the auction. Like, say, if the borrower owner files for federal bankruptcy court protection, and then they yank it right then and there. But I went through a lot of processes. Wow. Can somebody mute that microphone out there? That's a hot mic.
Yeah, it's somebody who is,
Bill, do you know how to lock the room?
yeah, I do. Let me just do it real quick.
Sounds like somebody's getting hurt
Person
badly.
unmuted is Sean
No.
Clark.
It's, yeah, it's,
So anyway, I was successful and prevailed on one of these particular properties at a foreclosure sale, and turned out it was a case that of I thought of negligent misrepresentation on the part of Wells Fargo, which was the trustee selling the property, or intentional misrepresentation. We could never we didn't go after them to really find if there was a smoking gun, because the place was supposed to be a 6-bedroom, 3-bathroom house in I think Ladera Heights. It turned out that it was actually
okay, hold on a second.
what was that? God. Bill,
Okay,
is this
so
taking
somebody-
place at the LA Zoo?
Yeah, no, people, what happened is, unfortunately, hold on a second. Lock the meeting. Okay, so nobody else can join the meeting. I don't think that person's, I got them out there. Somebody has the link and it's coming in. I have a number of people here who I don't recognize the name, and your camera's off. This will be one last shot. If we get this person coming back, then I'll have to remove people who I don't recognize your picture and or name. If I know you and your picture's on, that's fine. If I don't know who you are, I'm going to ask you if your email is, your phone says iPhone or something, I'm going to have to ask you if it happens again. I'm sorry about that. But I've locked the room now, so it shouldn't happen again. Go ahead, Eric. Well, Eric,
Okay.
let's do this. Let's just jump in here real quick. So rather than guess the area, this is the property area that we're talking about, 4245 West 62nd Street that you bought at trustee sale, right?
Bill, we're
Right.
on your email.
Oh, well, that's not good. Share screen. How's that?
That's it.
Thank you. Thanks, Jack. Jack providing legal services. Thank you, Jack, for keeping me safe from any liability issues on my email. So this is the property, 4245 West 62nd Street, which is in the Ladera Heights area. Now you bought this at trustee sale, which means where'd you get the property? How'd you get it?
So there was a trustee sale that I was connected myself with a number of different trustees that were selling numerous properties on a monthly basis at a trustee sale, and Wells Fargo was one of them. So I identified this property as a target of opportunity, and went forward and
You went to Norwalk.
leveraged my account so I could actually be able to bring a belly up to the bar, so to speak.
So you went to Norwalk, and it's no longer at the courthouse, but it's at the hotel, right?
Right.
And about 1 in 10 houses actually go forward. About 9, 10 get delayed or something doesn't happen. But this one went to auction.
Right. Exactly.
Do you remember what the opening bid was that when you walked in the door, you knew it opened at some price? You remember what that was?
Yeah. I believe the opening bid was like, I want to say like maybe 400,
Okay.
around
And-
400.
And
And
what
the
did
debt was about 450 on it.
and what did it end up going for?
It went for 455.
45. So this is the property in Google Maps. Here it is in Redfin. You'll notice
There it
something's
is.
missing, which is the second level. And
Yeah,
then
it
when
was
you go
supposed to
in-
be a 2-story house.
And when you go inside, you'll notice some things are missing. Like a lot of the house.
Right.
Now, you bought this. These pictures weren't online when you got it. These are
No, I
pictures
put these
on-
pictures on. Well, I gave these pictures to you to put online.
Correct. This was put on.
I
when
took
we
them
listed this for sale. When you first got the property, all you could see online was this. And it kind of looks like a decoration of some sort, like it could be, and there could be a second story behind it or something. You
Right.
really can't tell from this. When
Right.
you bought it without driving there, but how could you go wrong? You would think when the property is 6-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,600 square feet, in that area, which that area is red hot.
Mhm.
So now you discover the property's fire damaged.
Well, before
And-
that, I should say also that the trustee represented to the public in their written documents and even their written documents that the place had a fair market value of about $1 million.
Right.
And so going in with the opening bid of 400, I thought like, well, there's a lot of potential profit in this house, assuming after doing due diligence that there was actually a house there. And the photographs that they provided were the front and the left and the right. And they said you can't go in, of course, you're restricted from actually going on because they said the property was occupied and that would be considered trespassing. So
Right.
you do the best you can in due
Right.
diligence. And then, I went forward only to discover there was a small little problem behind the facade of the front of the property, which was damaged in a major fire several years ago.
Not only that, 2 of the family members died on the premises.
The what?
2 family members died on the premises in the fire,
That's right. Yeah.
which if you Google the property address pulls up the news. So that's another interesting, that didn't become a problem for us. It was more than 3 years old.
Yeah.
So it didn't require disclosure. And we sold to investors, so it's not an issue at this stage of the game. So that said, here you, and actually this is live. This was the house, the part of the house that didn't get burned. It's just crazy when you walk inside. There's a second floor, right?
Right. That's what it used to be.
Yeah. So, okay. Now the good news is though, even in that condition, the property, we initially put the part, we went to the market the day the state's closing down, March 17th or 20th, $799. And we eventually sold the property at $680. So you had $680 for a fire burned out house that you paid how much for again?
For I think like 455.
But you had some closing costs on both sides
Right.
and some realtor
And legal
costs,
fees also. I had to
and
deal with
legal-
hire an attorney,
and you had a great realtor,
a great realtor. Exactly.
escrow, title. So what do you suppose at the end of the day, carrying costs? Now you're carrying it yourself, but there's cost to that. What would you guess your net profit of the deal was at the end of the day?
Well, let's see. And that is about I think like 190-ish, 190, low 190s.
Okay. And so you bought the property originally in when?
December of 2019.
2019, and sold it by
But I think
June.
September of last year.
Okay. So about there you go, September 10th. So you had it for just
Like
under
9
a year
months.
and made about 190 on it.
Yeah.
Okay. And it wasn't like a full-time job in that you didn't do the rehab, you didn't have to do drawings. There was work to be done. I don't mean to minimize your involvement, but it's not like this was a full-time job for you. You were still gainfully employed and doing your business and all that.
Yeah. The one thing that was taking a lot of time is like throughout that 9-month period is there were turns out the 3 list pendants notices that were on title. And so I had to work really hard to get them all removed. And I was successful at that. One of them was criminal and 2 of them were civil. And I got them all removed.
So to translate that, list pendants means when somebody's filing a lawsuit regarding somebody owns property, they file a notice on the property and it actually gets recorded at the county. And you can't really sell the property until it's cleared up what that is. Now, sometimes it can be frivolous and it gets removed as a pain. Sometimes they're legitimate. Sometimes in the case of Eric's, I believe they were really more like cleaning up paperwork that never got cleaned up properly, right? The criminal case really wasn't your client, wasn't your house anymore. I'm sorry, it wasn't their house anymore, it was your house. The lawsuit had kind of been settled and paid off in the foreclosure. So it was more administrative cleanup. Even that took a lot of work though.
It did. It took a lot of work. And 2 of the administrative ones were really civil cases from the prior owner who was very upset that he lost his house in foreclosure. So he was suing for quiet title and other things like that. He wanted to regain possession.
Right. Now, you happen, by coincidence, perhaps, you happen to be an attorney.
Yeah.
this isn't because you're an attorney you got this property. I mean, you earned the money and maybe felt comfortable buying it, but you didn't get this as your business being an attorney. You got this as an investor. You happen to be an attorney, you happen to know about these things. Curious, if I was the investor and I called you up to hire you to do the work you did on this, what might that cost me?
Oh, to do that kind of work, all that groundwork and research and all that stuff.
The list pendants removals, calling the
Yeah, I think it'd be something
CPA.
that I'd have to discuss with the individual, who would want to hire me to do this kind of stuff, because I'm actually really good at it now. I mean, I'm still actively trying to pursue that.
Sure.
And of course, with COVID, a lot of things are getting canceled on a regular basis, and the selection is few. But I could totally help somebody go through this process if they wanted to.
What I'm just curious, what you think you spent, you use yourself as the attorney. What do you think you spent in terms of hours, times your hourly rate, or and then filing fees and such? What do you think it would cost if I was the investor on this and we went back in time and paid you for your time? What would you charge for something like that? We actually have a real estate attorney on the call, Jack, that I've used for similar things or refer clients to for similar things. But I'm just curious, you're in the business. What do you think it would cost if you were to do this again for somebody else as an investor? Are we talking $10,000? We're talking $40,000?
It's all about time, really, and putting time into research and resources. For like these, I could say, sort of like, I'm using my legal skills, because I'm analyzing, lots and lots of title documents and going through list pendants and removing legal obstacles on titles and all that. So yeah, probably in that range. I wouldn't say as high as 40, but I'd say probably in the lower range.
$10,000-$20,000, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably pretty reasonable.
Yeah. I'm just curious, Jack, does that sound like in the realm, or does that sound low? Again, I've referred clients to you before in this kind of arena. You're in this business to some degree, right? If I had a property and it had less pendants against a prior owner that should have been paid off through foreclosure, and there was a criminal matter on the prior owner, had nothing to do with our buyer, of course it's by the hour and the actual costs. Do you have a sense of what it might cost for something like this, or a way to estimate that?
The problem is, and I've been doing litigation for over 25 years now, and a lot of it's I was doing on the defense side. The problem you run into is a lot of the expense, the hourly expense, is dependent on how the other side responds every step of the way. Like, I had someone come to me and says, I'm having this problem and I want you to write a letter and then we're going to sue them and blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to pay you hourly. I just want to pay you $10,000 to do it. And I said, I'm not going to let you do that. And they're like, why? I said, because I could write one letter and they could say, okay. And I just made $10,000 writing a letter. On the other side, they could fight it to the Supreme Court. It ends up costing me $150,000 in fees, and I get paid $10,000 for it.
Right.
It all depends on what the other side wants to do. And so, I think an attorney can give you an idea. Okay, if they do this, it's going to cost that much. If they do that, it's going to. But just like trying to figure out timelines, every branch has a different result, and as you get further forward in time, you're less likely to know what's going to happen.
Correct. In this case, we had the additional problem of we had an assistant attorney, district attorney, and we had the offices closed down because of COVID. Getting documents recorded was part of the problem. They claimed to file the documents, but didn't get them recorded. Well, so at the end of the day here, Eric, you made this money. You made $195,000. Let's say less $10,000 in your own legal expense, time, or an effort, or $20,000. So you made $170,000. What's next? That's pretty good money for a year's investment. It was stressful. Right. But what's next?
Well, I put it in a 1031 exchange. And so I identified 3 potential properties to put the money into. 2 of them, unfortunately, were canceled by the trustees. And there's 1 left. And that comes up this month in March. So I'm hoping that that one will be a winner, so to speak. If not, then I just have to I'll put it into something else and just have work with my accountant to deal with the the tax issues that ensue.
Well, as a taxpayer, I'll thank you for your contribution and support. Okay, so here's a real live investment. He actually made, I think, net anyway, slice it at 175,000 to 195, buying property in Ladera Heights area, a little outside the actual Ladera Heights area, but fantastic area. We have on this call first-time investors, experienced investors. Who has a question for Eric? Raise your hand or chat box, or just jump in.
Hi.
Cheryl Williams, go ahead.
Hello, Cheryl,
Hey, Cheryl.
over here in West LA. I have a question about when you go to a trustee sale, do you sign up for that? Or is that something that you just know because you're an attorney and you have access to that information? I can't remember. I mean, my dad was a probate attorney, so I kind of knew a little bit, but I never really knew the in-depth, like what happens when it's a trustee sale versus like, I mean, is it because of that fact that they're foreclosed upon, or can it be anything like, death in the family or whatever? I guess I'm kind of asking two questions. Sorry.
That's okay. So Eric, where do you go to find the scheduled trustee sales that you've been bidding on?
Hold on. I think I just lost this thing. How do I go back?
Technology.
Yeah, let me go back. Whoops, hold on. Are you there?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
We
I
can hear
lost
you.
the video. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's the video stopped.
Now you're muted.
Okay. Yeah, so I got connected with it's not just because I'm an attorney, but I got connected with the different trustees that were putting these properties forward through a foreclosure process. And I'm connected also with a title company too, a title officer who is able to send me the information I need so I can do my own title research on any particular given property to make sure that it's clear for foreclosure or it's not. Like, for example, I've got one now that I'm looking at that has 5 mortgages on it. And
That happened.
yeah, it's got 5. And, from my knowledge and learning in this field here about what you want to go for and what you don't want to go for is typically the red flags are properties that do have list pendants notices with, which means there's a potential or active litigation affecting the title of the property going on, and you really need to dig deep into that before you even consider even bidding on a property like this. And there's other clouds on title as well. They have to look at, such as tax liens, which follow the property. And there's certain things that don't. And so I understand all of that process now. And
How do you get a notice when there is a sale that's going to come up? Like, how a house goes into auction. Is it different from going into auction, or is it the same thing?
You contact the company, clearinghouse.
I don't think people have their mics on.
Hello?
Okay, now go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, you get in contact with the companies that are putting the different properties up for foreclosure. And so they don't actively notify you per se, but you just have to constantly check in with them to see what's going on and what the status is of any particular property that you're interested in. And
how do you know who they are?
Sorry?
How do you know who they are? The people that you get in contact with too, who are going to be putting the houses up for the trustee sale.
So let me help with a couple of resources.
Sure.
Number one,
Oh.
you're a real estate agent, right?
Yeah.
So in the MLS, you can search properties that are listed that are in foreclosure by looking up the keywords foreclosure, and they'll pop up. Another resource for everybody is auction.com.
Oh,
And
I
you
heard
go
of that, but I didn't know that was related to, I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
It's not comprehensive. Some trustees use it, some don't, but it's a good resource to start with. I
was just curious. Yeah, no, I just thought that it was different from a trustee sale was different from an auction. So I was trying to.
Well, what happens is that the auction, the trustee sale, let's put it this way, the auction is the clearinghouse for the trustee sale.
There's multiple types of auctions. You have the most common are trustee sale auctions that Eric went to and goes to. There's also sheriff sale auctions, there's probate auctions, there's different types, bankruptcy auctions. By far the most common by number, 90% probably are trustee sales like this. So it's a great place to start. Like Eric said, 9% of the properties are scheduled, don't actually sell that day. So you have to either be prepared to bid on multiple properties or just not be disappointed if your property doesn't go.
Yeah, but also to ask, go back to one of your earlier questions, you do need to sign up the day of the sale. You can't, you don't have to do it in advance of that, but you have to show up on the day of the sale, and you have to bring funds with you. You can't bring a promissory note or a letter to be funded from a bank.
Right.
That's the only requirement.
So you just get in contact with the companies who are putting the homes or whatever it is up for sale, and then when that happens, it goes to auction. Is that what you're saying, or do I have it mixed up?
Well, sorry, say that again.
Well, I'd say this. Why don't you take a look at auction.com?
I just wanted to know if there's a difference, really. That's all I really wanted to know. Is there a difference? And I'm not getting a clear answer. I'm like, I just want to know, like,
There are many different trustee companies, and
so there's trustee companies. Okay.
And the trustee is the one who sells the property when it's foreclosed on.
Right. Like my dad would be
The largest number are sold through auction.com. There are other trustees that do their own auctions. One
Okay.
in Pomona, one in the Valley.
Got it.
Howdy.
Okay.
Howdy, this is Albert.
Okay.
I see.
I'm not sure how this is happening.
People get the
link. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I had locked the room. The room is locked. Okay.
And you could speak a little louder there too, Mr. Gross.
You know, I'm right up against the microphone, so I don't know. I only have so much. Foreclosure.com, somebody else indicates, is another. Julie says is another resource you might look at. So there's a couple of them. And then I will also say in the MLS, you look up a particular property, then you find the trustee sale on that property, and you'll discover other smaller trustees that have a different process. There's a number of different trustee sale companies. About 80% get sold through this auction.com.
Oh, okay. Now I get the progression of the process. I just was twisted around a little bit there. Okay. All right. So yeah, because the trustee is a person who's handling it for whatever, let's say in probate, the family's situation is. And sometimes the trustee is the attorney.
Well,
right?
These are not probate.
Not really.
These are
It's
not
more
probate.
like a law firm that would be doing it for, let's say, a bank or whoever actually holds the first trustee, or whichever trustee is going up for auction and foreclosure.
Right. In California, we don't really use mortgages, or we use the term. A deed of trust is what's used to borrow money. And when you don't pay, the trustee auctions the property to get paid the deed of trust off.
Okay.
Right.
That's the best way to put it. Yeah, no, now I get it. I mean, concretely.
Good.
It was kind of floating around there, but I knew they were connected. But the trustee is, the mortgage company. That's exactly right. In terminology and nomenclature and jargon. But yeah, thanks.
Great.
Yeah.
Eric,
I want to pursue that for sure, just out of curiosity, just how it goes,
Great.
I want to
Eric,
sell
I have a
property.
question.
Sure.
So what is the best way, you said you connected with the title company to be able to, with you being an attorney, it probably was easier for you to really go through the process of clearing title. Is it best to connect with the title company and ask them, how do I, what's the process that it takes to research the title? For newbies, like what would you suggest us really checking on the title?
Well, what you need to do is you need to pull, as part of your doing due diligence for any property you're considering purchasing, you have to pull the entire title history of that property. And so whoever you can connect with at a title company that will enable you to do that, if they'll let you, if they'll provide you that information, is what you need to do that due diligence. Because there could be a landmine out there on any pretty looking property anywhere in the country, and you have no idea unless you really dig into the background and the title history of the property.
There's definitely risks involved in these properties, and that's why you have to have a reasonable profit to make it worth your time. So we're good. Well, Eric, I just want to thank you for any other questions before we let him go, or you're welcome to stay on. But Eric, I just want to thank you so much for your time. Again, he's
My
a client
pleasure.
of
I'll be
mine.
glad to help any of your folks out if they want to do something like this as well, and sort of climb on board the train.
Well,
Dude,
thanks.
because my thing is like, not only do I want to list properties, but I'm a designer type person, so I want to get some properties and fix them up just because it's a fun thing to do and I have the resources and all that. But like, yeah, I want to partner with somebody first because, I've never transacted anything yet.
Well, that's what we're here for. So
I want to.
good,
Sure.
thanks.
Do you have an
so
email address or what's your deal? I
Eric,
mean,
how would-
how do you communicate rather, not what's your deal? Sorry.
It's Goldie, GOLDIE 39, the number 39 at gmail.com.
Okay, cool. Thanks. I'll hit you up.
Sure. Thank you.
And don't mind if I ask a lot of questions. I'm just really inquisitive. I like to know stuff. So sorry.
Sure. Absolutely.
So, Colonel Goldie, thank you so much for your service. Thank you for your business.
My pleasure, Bill.
On this call, I'm the general, so I'll dismiss you. How's that? You're dismissed.
Sounds good. Well, just everybody on the call, this is Sergeant Major, honorary Sergeant Major Bill Gross, you're all talking to.
Thank you. Thanks for the battlefield promotion.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
I also, I hope you guys, was that interesting to go through his case study? Yeah, I thought so. I've enjoyed it. Okay, next case study. Julie Pearson's on the call. Julie is somebody who I've met and really come to enjoy working with. And she, I all the time ask you guys if you have a deal you want to share. But also, I want to do a little coaching here because this is kind of a format that we get them. Julie, you there?
Yes, I'm here. You want me to put my video on?
Well, yeah, we would like to see you.
There
Thank
I am.
you. Very nice. A little eye candy. So this is what you sent me, right? And so you want to talk about this property a little bit? And here's a picture of it.
Yeah. So I am a newbie, but I'm doing my first flip right now in Oklahoma. And so I'm constantly analyzing properties right now. Down in Norman is where, if you're familiar with Oklahoma, it's where the big OU University is. And that's usually a great place for like rentals because it's by a university. However, this zip code part of Norman is a great residential area. And so I came across this, I think 2 days ago, and Oklahoma is growing for sure. In fact, we all think that it's such a small state and there's not a lot of, there's not a lot of growth there. It's a very stable market. And a lot of Texas people are starting to move north up to Oklahoma because a lot of California people are moving to Texas. And so now a lot of Texas people are starting to transplant up to Oklahoma. This is not too far from the border of Texas. But it looks like some good opportunity. I just wanted to present it to you guys. It's right now the ARV, in comparing a bunch of comps for properties that sold around there, is about 250. And it's on the market right now for 161. So after I did my analysis, after all of the your purchase closing costs, it's about I have this number wrong there. It's not 169. It's about 164,000 with your purchasing closing costs and rehab. It doesn't need a whole lot. It's about 30 grand to rehab it. And so your holding costs, I think about 3 months to fix up. And so with a mortgage, I've just put like $500 a month for it's a pretty good standard, mortgage per month. So your holding cost for 3 months is about 7,500. So your total cost into it is about 205,000. I have showed 210 right here, but it's really 205. So you're looking at an ARV of 250 with a total cost of 210. It looks like a pretty good, profit for $40,000. So, just wanted to kind of present that for all you fix and flippers. If you're looking, of course, California is very tough right now to, I think the market, where it's just so, great thing about Oklahoma, it's very affordable real estate. So if you are just starting out and you're wanting to invest, Oklahoma is a low risk area. So, because it's not a lot of heavy dollars, it's cheap real estate. And people are moving there and homes are getting fixed up. A lot of older areas are becoming new. So great opportunity. Just wanted to throw it out there. Connect with me. I have a person that I can connect with you if you're interested in buying this.
So this is what you sent me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I get these things. So are you up for a little coaching, Julie? Can I coach you a little bit
Sure.
on the call?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I get these things, I'm a busy guy. I work a lot of hours. I'm always looking for deals for myself, for clients. And I kind of get this thing. And here's what I want to say to people. You don't want to send your prospect, in this sense, I'm a prospective buyer,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
or work. You want to send your prospect either the solution to the problem or demonstration that you can solve the problem.
Okay.
So I got this from her, which is interesting. I happen to know the market, and I'm good with numbers in my head. But I said to her, and this is why when you think about 2 questions, when you present a property to an investor, you always want to answer these 2 questions. Number 1, how much in total will it cost me to get it rehabbed until I make some money back? Because that's all an investor cares about. What's it going to cost me?
Mm-hmm.
And then 2, what do I get back for my money? And if you can answer those 2 questions and focus on them, that's what creates the opportunity. So she came back with those numbers. Now, if you look at this, what she's saying is if your total investment is $210,000 cash, by the way, you can borrow a chunk of this.
Mm-hmm.
There's financing for this, right? You could borrow probably easily 150. If the deal was even sweeter, you might be able to borrow more than that. The people would lend you 200 and participate in the equity. But let's just say, for sake of discussion, you can get in for less than that. But now you're covering interest costs on top of that. But let's just go with cash. 210 to get 250. I'm getting $40,000 out. But how long am I getting that money back? I'm getting it back after 90 days. So I could turn that money over 3 times, which means annual return is 120 divided by the 250. My annual return is almost a 50% rate of return. And so what I would do is I would show that and say annual rate of return and calculate that out. How do you calculate that? It's so funny. I was watching the movie Stand and Deliver, which is about a math teacher in East LA. Great movie. I haven't seen it. Just really one of the best movies of all time. But the simple math, and I don't know if you guys can you see that calculator? Okay. So let me share the calculator. And then let me share it. Okay. Simple math is, since we know we're going to make $40,000 out of an investment of 210, we're going to go $40,000. I did it backwards. 210.
Mm-hmm. 40. There you go.
No, I did it wrong again. Okay. I'm going to make a 19% return, but really, I would turn that money over 3 times. And so an annual return is really about 57%. I'm investing, if I could do this 3 times, I'm investing $120,000 into the 210, or making about $40,000 in only a 3-month period. So it really is in the actual investment, I'm getting 20% back of my gross revenue, but I'm getting it back in a 3-month period. So it's 19% in 3 months would be about, well, I keep saying 3 months, it's like 4 times. It's almost 80% annual rate of return. If I could do this 4 times a year, I'd make $160,000 profit, right?
Gotcha. So that's when you kind of confused me when you said 3 times over. You're actually
4
saying
times.
4 more properties doing it at that much.
Right. You could, well, it only took you 90 days.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah,
do it
yeah.
4 times a year.
Absolutely.
So you would make 160 for your investment. You only,
Right.
at one time, you're only out the total 210 because you
Right.
sell it by another
Yeah.
one 210. So you turn that money over and you're going to get back 4 times a year at $106,000. So you're getting back tremendous rate of return if you pull it off. Now, challenges are who's going to do the work, who oversees the work. And so in Julie's case, she has people that she's done a flip with in Oklahoma City and that she's offering to get involved with. So reach out to you if you're interested. There's your phone number, right? That's number to reach you at. 949-370-1509, right? She's done that. She's been in Oklahoma, has people in Oklahoma, and can make you some money there. And then she put her email in the box as well, Julie@p5ent.net. Questions for Julie on the deal? So I would say this deal has some meat on the bone. Any questions for Julie? I don't see any. So you can email her or call her.
I don't have a question for Julie, but I do have something to proffer. I forgot that I have a property in Venice.
Well,
that...
hold on one second. Let's finish with Julie's property first.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to run over. I was just thinking.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I had a question.
You may have a question for Julie on this transaction or comment. And if you're a lender, you might want to reach out to her and offer her some financing, and then she could pretty the numbers up even more, because in reality, if you could finance, I'm just going to throw a number out, even $120,000 of it, now you're only putting out of pocket $90,000 to get a $40,000 profit. You probably get a little less profit because you have to pay the interest and the closing costs. So let's imagine you only put up $90,000 to net out 35 or 30, but still those numbers work out a little better. You follow me, Julie?
I think so. Yeah. So you're saying, yeah, that for my personal finance, like going to get financing, so it decreases my part of it. Is that what you're saying?
Cash outlay.
Cash out. Yeah.
And it could, because your rate of return is so high, even if you pay a 10% rate of return annually, you're getting about an 80% annual return on your investment. So it's worth it. It lowers your risk. And you know what I think it does for you also? It gets you another expert on your team. Because if I was a buyer, right, to have a lender who's going to review the value and the paperwork and the deal, if it's a lender that I feel comfortable with, it's another confirmation that it's a good deal. So I recommend generally in this kind of situation, find a lender that you think will do the deal, and kind of pre-package both the numbers and their contact info. Right? Because to me, as a salesperson, that makes it more saleable. Right? Don, would you finance something like this? Is this a kind of product that you would finance? I know you do bridge loans. So you do bridge loans, meaning if I have a house with equity, I can borrow against it to buy something else. But do you lend on investment flipping properties?
Yeah, the bridge loan would just be for the consumer product, but if you have equity in an investment property, we can lend against that for the purchase of another property, or we can lend against that to use for rehab for another property.
Do you lend on fix and flips on the actual transaction?
We lend on the actual transaction, but we don't lend on the rehab. We lend on as is, not ARV.
Okay, so
you'd have to use a different property if you wanted the ARV money.
Okay, but if it's as is 169, you might lend 120 or something, or 110 or some number on that.
It's possible. We like to stay at 250 or above. I can make exceptions, if it's a decent deal, but the company likes to stay at a minimum of 250.
Okay, So Don's not maybe the right person for this particular property, but you get the concept, Julie, where if you package together a lender and not just the loan amount, the interest rate, and the costs, but an actual person, somebody who sees the lender involved in it, they've run the numbers. Maybe they haven't appraised it, aren't going to come in on it, but they're going to say, I took an eyeball at it. It looks reasonable, right? It's just one more person to help you make your job easier. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Sure. Julie, thank you. And Don, thank you for being on. 250 minimum, you do bridge loans, you finance fix and flips. You do some bigger stuff
We
too. I
will
think.
finance the purchase of a fix and flip. Our main product that would probably help this group of investors is the line of credit. So yeah, we can do a line of credit against a property with enough equity to purchase another property or to fix up another property, but we use as is value,
Very good.
not future.
Got it.
Hope
Okay,
that
good.
helps.
Don, and Don, send me we need to highlight one of your programs next week. So let's come, if you're available next week, send me a flyer, one of those on the line of credit. I think it's just a really interesting product that I think we get people who have money, they have some equity, but they like, I think it was Carlos to start off, they also want to do some investing. So that would be candidates for what you do. So let's maybe present that.
The
next
line of
week.
credit is kind of like it's like a bank account. When you go down and you want to buy that property and like he said, have the cash in hand, the line of credit kind of just sits there waiting for you so that you pretty much are making an all cash offer on the property. You don't have to wait and go get financing after the fact. It puts you in a much stronger buying position. I already have that line of credit kind of lined up and waiting for you. So yeah, I'll send that to you.
Can they use that at trustee sale? Can they get a cashier's check and bring it to a trustee sale? As long as they pay the interest on the money?
Call and you're like, hey, can you shoot me over $100,000? Can you shoot me over $200,000? And we wire it to your account and you have it within a day or so. So it's pretty much available. If you're going to a capital steps for a trustee sale and there's a property you want, you can get that money ahead of time. Nice. And then you only pay what you use. So if you end up not using it, you can just put it right back in your account.
Nice.
If you end up using it, you end up paying on it, but you only pay for what you use. So that line is pretty much like a bank account, savings account, kind of just sitting there waiting for you.
Nice.
It just needs to be secured by real estate.
Got it. Very nice.
So yeah.
Very nice. Okay, good.
I'll send you information on the bridge loan. I thought I already had, but I'll send it to you. Make sure you have it.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Okay, last question. Cheryl, you had something you wanted to ask or present? You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. No, it just came to me that I did have a property in Venice that I put out to another investor who hasn't gotten back to me. And I'm thinking, well, I should try something else. But it's a cute piece of property. It's small, like 3,600 square feet total lot size, but the existing building was like a 2-bedroom bath. And they had converted the garage into like a little room, which could also be an ADU, but like it fits. It's right in Venice and it's on a corner. So there's lots of potential and it can be like an R2 or whatever. And I'm thinking that, it's great for investors because it's being sold as is from a private party, for sale by owner, and I just happened to call. And so I thought, wow, that's a really good property to fix up or it's a tear down for an investor that has a lot of money, to do it, because they're asking like 1.575, something like that. And I wanted to know, is that since inventory is low, and they haven't decided on somebody that they want to buy it because they've had some offers, but they don't like whomever they've been offered by. So I'm thinking, well, I may be able to bring that person, or my fantasy is to be able to buy it myself and fix it up. And because it's prime real estate, and the comps around the area are way past 1.5, 1.6. So, I think it would be a good return on investment, right?
Well, I don't know.
It has a lot of criteria. Yeah.
Again, this is one of those things where you have to be careful when you present to somebody. You don't want to give them work to do the comps. You want to give them work to work the numbers. You should pull the comps and work up the numbers and determine based on these comps, this is the profit. This is what the rehab would be based on what I see as the vision. And so it's important. I think a lot of investors wonder why people aren't moving on their deals. And the answer is you always want to make it easy for customers to say yes. Nobody wants more work. Everybody in the world believes they're overworked. True or false? Right?
True.
If you think you have time for more work, raise your hand. No, nobody does. So Anders does. Okay. The rest of us think we're overworked. So make sure when you bring it a property, look, sure, you're welcome to bring a property here. Just bring the comps with the ARV, bring the estimates and the numbers, and we can present it. Maybe we can find somebody who'll go in on it with you, okay?
You know, it just came to mind, and I thought, oh, well, how does it work like that? And just I just wanted to see. But yeah, I'll go back and pull the actual comps because
Great.
it's important to know the exact numbers, even though I have an idea just from the neighborhood.
Great. Okay, so we're going to wrap up here. We actually went a little long. Appreciate you guys being on the call today. We do this every Tuesday, 3:00 p.m. Real estate investment. It's also streamed onto YouTube. And then on Thursdays, 4:00, we do a call on probate real estate. And I have two kind of associate calls. Kraus, my team, does a program on remodeling and works with some higher-end properties in the South Bay. He's Tuesday at 2:00. And Emma Pacheco for my team does multifamily investing out of state Wednesdays at 3:00. So if you're interested in any of those calls, let me know. If you're interested in anything I've talked about today, you can text good stuff, the words good stuff, to 213-460-4577. That's 213-460-2577. My probate call on Thursday is probateweekly.com. Love to have you join us there. If I don't speak to you, have a fantastic week. Thank you for being on the call today. Really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Thanks, Julie. That was great.
Thanks, Bill.